Well, it's an exciting week for us. We started Drogon in October of 2020. Drogon is finished this week. So last week we showed you videos and pictures of him shooting fire. So we're doing the final cleaning, wiping him down. Then we're going to do a coat of penetrol. And penetrol is a oil-based paint additive that you would normally use for just leveling paint out, but it works amazing on sealing raw metal and stopping it from rusting. The boys have been just finishing up. They finished up the shoulders on the back side of the shoulders. They're all encased and finished, and the skin is done and the welding's done. And they're just working on the top of the legs. So we're building his hips where his legs join his body. We finished the tail. The tail just needed some belly scales and some side scales and some lifting points. When the wings come off, they need to be supported on the trailer when it's going to Utah. And we're not sure exactly how we're going to do that, how we're going to build the supports. There's a 12-volt car battery inside the Dragon, along with the propane system that I built. And it has a charging system as well. So the fire system works on a key fob. So when you push the key fob down and hold it, that triggers the gas valve to open up for the pilot lights and allows the gas to flow. And then on a timer, 3 seconds after you hold the trigger down, he'll shoot flames. Good morning. It's early in the morning. The sun's blinding us, and we're out here with Challenger. So this is my latest sculpture, Challenger. He's about 14 feet tall, not quite, maybe 13 feet tall, and has about a 18-foot wingspan if you stretched him out. And this is going to the Eagle Foundation in Tennessee, Kodak, Tennessee. So we're just getting around to pictures, and then this afternoon we're actually going to take the wings off and get everything wrapped up, do a little bit of touch-up painting once the wings are off in areas we couldn't get to, and then he's going to get wrapped up and shipped on Thursday, so off to Tennessee. The challenging part of this one was his face, actually. I really wanted to bring character into his face, but not cartoonish. And this is actually the second beak I made. I made 2 beaks and started another one that I wasn't happy with. So finally it was the beak and then just the placement of the eyes, finding something to use for the eyes. I couldn't find anything that was working. I had made a couple different sets of eyes. And then I ended up taking round bar and grinding the round bar into an oval or into a half sphere, and then polishing it by hand. So this is all just 18 gauge steel that's been rusted, and this is 18 gauge mirror polish. They call it number 8 finish stainless steel, 304 stainless steel. So all of the feathers, the tail feathers, and the feet are made out of 304 stainless steel to give it that contrasting color. I used muriatic acid. When you get metal, it's usually covered in kind of like a peanut oil to protect it from rusting. Muriatic acid eats through that coating, kind of etches the surface, and allows water and oxygen and rust to bite to that surface really quick. To accelerate this, I used copper sulfate for the first time, and you just spritz it onto the metal. I had this much color on it in 24 hours. I think there's a couple $1,000s in material, and most of the work on a piece like this is time. I mean, from start to finish with the engineering, I think we were 5 months, maybe 6 months, 5 months. So yeah, it adds up, the time adds up. It's very time consuming making all these feathers. We make them all by hand, and some people, you know, I've had a lot of people ask me, why don't you just get them CNC'd and stuff? And I don't like that, the fact that you're using a computer and a water jet cutter or a CNC plasma to cut all the feathers in uniform. And I think that if some of the feathers are slightly off or slightly different shaped or, you know, cut differently, just those little differences give it a more natural appeal than a mechanical appeal. So that's why everything's hand cut, handmade, every little piece. Well, these wings are designed to slide out, so there's pockets in the shoulders that are engineered to receive the wings, and we just have to use the forklift to lift the wing out. The wing's about 200 pounds. I commission any size, you know, from 10 feet all the way to 60 feet. I mean, I've done a big 55-foot one for Dolly Parton, and this one probably weighs 600 or 700 pounds. You know, they can be as low as I think they start around 40,000 for a fully fabricated eagle, and then they go up from there. I've done them as big as 250,000 for Dollywood. I've also do them in all stainless steel, mirror polished stainless steel, so you can get the whole sculpture looking chrome. And then if it's a different type of bird, I can do the whole bird in steel as well. It can be painted, it can be colored. You know, if you want a black bird like a crow or a raven, it can be colored. And I like to color not with paint, but with heat treatment. So I can actually turn the metal black and then put a protective coating on it, similar to what I've done with the dragon. Behind me here is the Pearl of the Ocean. I drew it on the floor first, actually. I drew it on my shop floor, and I drew the whole thing to scale on the shop floor. Then I rolled a round bar to follow the shape that I had drawn out to get a rough structure of the shape. And then I three-dimensionally framed it out of a half-inch stainless steel round bar. We braced it up in the air so that we could start doing the skinning, and then doing all the templates. We templated in yellow paper, made the whole sculpture basically in yellow paper, and then we used those yellow paper templates to cut the stainless and fit it and weld it on. So this is the Pearl for the Pearl of the Ocean. This is a 48-inch, 1/8-inch thick steel ball that was built in two halves. So one half was spun, the other half was spun, and then we took it up to Mountain View Classics in Hope, BC, where my old painter from the hot rod shop, Ferd, did all the body work and paint for me. So this is actually House of Color Chameleon, and it's an effects paint that changes color. So this gets screwed to the top of the sculpture once it's mounted in the home. They'll lift it with a crane and drop it down through the center of the house through the skylight, and the pearl will be visible on the second floor. This is actually the bottom of the sculpture, and the top of the sculpture is the points at the other end. So I have a big base. The base is over on the floor there. It's made out of stainless steel and plate. It's like 5 feet wide and 10 feet long. And that'll get welded to this, and that'll be the base of the sculpture. So the welding's been started, and most of it's all tacked now. I mean, the whole sculpture's built and tacked, but we have to finish the multi-layer welding and then fully mirror polished by hand. We've built it pretty quick. I think this whole sculpture came together in 4 months. There was about $25,000 in material used on the sculpture. Stainless is pretty expensive right now. This is all 1/8-inch plate. It took 20 sheets exactly to make it. This will be the front side of the sculpture. This is a 1-inch stainless nut, so the ball actually gets spun onto this nut, and it'll be permanently attached after the sculpture is vertical. This will be the inside front of the sculpture. That, you know, this is kind of what you'll see down in the basement in the foyer, the front view of the sculpture.